Thanks all for coming. This is a webinar put on by the Maine New Farmers Project through the University of Maine Cooperative Extension. The Maine New Farmers Project is grant funded through USDA NIFA, and we have a website that tells all about the program, as well as gives a lot of information about new programming for new farmers that happens all throughout the state. So not just with Extension, but with all the ag service providers throughout the state. So I will put some information about that in the chat so you know how to reach us. And I will also send information about that in our follow-up email. So today we'll be talking about accepting alternative forms of currency for farm products. And we have a whole panel of speakers that I'm really excited to introduce. So today we have G from the Maine Department of Agriculture, and they will be talking about participation in the Maine Senior FarmShare program. We have Lynn from UMaine Extension, and she'll be talking about involvement in the Maine Harvest for Hunger program and the Maine Gleaning network. And we have Jamie from the Brunswick Topsom Land Trust, and she'll be talking about accepting Maine Harvest Bucks and SNAP benefits at your farm stand or farmers market booth. And we have Anna from Maine WIC, and she'll be talking about the process of accepting WIC vouchers at a farm stand or a farmer's market booth. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get started. G, you are up first. So the Maine Senior FarmShare program. I also wanted to mention that to keep things rolling today, we've got a lot of information for you. I'd ask you to hold your questions and write them in the chat. And at the very end, we're going to answer those questions live.
Okay. Hello. Oops. There we go. Hello, everyone. My name is G. I work at, like I said, I work at the Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry as the manager of Maine Senior FarmShare. And Maine Senior FarmShare is funded by USDA FNS, Food and Nutrition Service. It is a program that exists in a number of states across the country. And you'll hear from WIC about some of their programs for farmers and WIC participants. But Senior FarmShare is kind of the sibling to their farmers market seasonal program. And just the general gist is that Senior FarmShare provides income-eligible older adults with the opportunity to receive fresh produce, herbs, and honey from authorized farms, farm stands, farmers markets. And I'm going to talk today just about a little bit about the process of becoming authorized, a little bit about what to expect from an administration of this program as a farmer, and then also just participant eligibility. So the lion's share of farms that participate in this program participate as an individual farm, and then they're able to take on participants at any of the channels that they sell produce direct to consumer. And I also wanted to mention that if you're a farmer that sells at a farmer's market, we are working in close collaboration with Maine Federation of Farmers Markets on a farmers market wide pilot program. So instead of an individual farm at a market being authorized, the market would take on some of the administrative burden, and the eligible foods at that market would all be eligible to be purchased by consumers. But I'm going to mostly focus on the individual farm sign-up process today. The rules and regs. So farms must have a history of operating and selling produce, must be for profit, We have, there used to be a rule that you needed to have 2 years of operation behind you in order to be enrolled in the program. That was to reduce risk for us and using federal dollars, but we've changed that to, on a more case-by-case basis, to allow more beginning farmers access to this program. And each farm that is selected for the program must provide a range of produce, so that the participants have the ability to access more than just a couple of kinds of things. So we mostly are looking at diversified produce farms, diversified vegetable farms, but also if your farm has a farm stand where you buy in local product from other farms around you, and you can provide that range that way, you would be eligible to participate in Maine Senior FarmShare. So farmers will, in order to participate, you need to be briefed on all of the policies and guidelines. We have a guidebook on our website. Guidebook is a strong word. We have a PDF on our website with all the guidelines and policies. We also provide training on that. And the application process used to be annual. This year we're switching to every 3 years. So 2024 is a certification year. 2027 will be a recertification year. Say you want to participate in the program, but this year is not your year. You want to start in 2025 or 2026. You can still sign up for the program, just you will need to also recertify in 2027, and then you'll be on the every 3 years rhythm. And then you sign an agreement form, and then you're authorized. And once you're authorized, your information is on our website, and you can start signing folks up. The program basically operates where each participant who signs up gets a $50 credit to your farm. The state pays you that $50 per person who's enrolled, and then you keep track of the spending down from that 50 to 0. We have like sort of standardized methods for that, but farmers use all kinds of different methods, and I, as the program manager, can help co-create methods that might work better for you. Like one farmer wanted to, instead of using a whole sheet of paper for each person, she wanted to have it kind of sized down to a half sheet and like a half binder. And like I was able to help kind of just like deal with the logistics and printing of all of that. So we help as much as we can. And these regulations are really important because USDA audits us to make sure that we're tracking farmers' payments, because USDA is really wanting to make sure that this money is being used to get food into older adults' bellies. So some of the paperwork is, it feels like something extra, but we've also had some farms that integrate the tracking like into their Square system. And there's basically like, if you are feeling excited about this program and the administration and tracking feels like the barrier, reach out to me and we can try to work something out, because the important thing is getting food on people's plates. Oh yes, and the last piece, I didn't put the eligible foods list on here, but we have a really robust eligible foods list on our website, and there's kind of like the Venn diagram of what's eligible for FarmShare, what's eligible for SNAP, what's eligible for Maine Harvest Bucks. And I'll also say that we're working in collaboration with Maine Federation of Farmers Markets to make a visual guide of like what is eligible for what, because basically if you want to buy fresh produce, you can use any of these tenders, but when it gets to other things like eggs, bread, dried produce, various things get a little more, even seedlings, like everyone kind of has their own rules. So participants must be Maine residents. Citizenship is not required. The lion's share of our participants are 60 years or older. Native Americans are eligible at 55, and disabled adults living in senior housing that has food service provided are eligible at age 18. And we screen for income eligibility on a self-reporting basis. USDA does not require that we collect forms. Somebody mailed me a scan of their social security information yesterday, and I was like, not only do I not need this, no one should ever need you to scan their social security information. So please never do that again. She sent it to me in an email. So yes, it's very like, okay, what's your house? I usually like, what's your household size? Is your household income at or below this amount? And I will say that for most older adults, their monthly income is below $1,000 a month. Some it's $1,500 a month. I'm actually interested in recruiting more participants that are in the higher end of the income guidelines, because every year the income guidelines go up, and thus a whole other swath of people are eligible, but our numbers kind of stay steady. So just thinking about that. Every farm has the opportunity to tell me how many shares they think they can fill. And then once you are allocated those shares, you can start signing people up. Some farms partner with nonprofits or volunteer organizations to do the farmer admin, that and the tracking and the sign up. That works incredibly well. The A lot of older adults around the country, but also in Maine specifically, live in congregate housing, and resident services coordinators there are very, very excited about this program, and they can go door to door, sign people up, and then give you a number of, hey, 20 folks signed up. I have the forms. I receive the forms. You drop shares off at the site. That's a really low lift way for farmers to get involved in the program. But also we have farm that partners with a Grange Hall. We have really like kind of, you name it, we got it or we want it, as far as partnerships are concerned. And yeah, I mentioned the piece about eligible foods already. I forgot I put this slide in here. So I'm just going to skip it because I repeated it. And yeah, the program, like I said, is seasonal. The official federal start date for enrollment is April 1st, and the end date for signing up new active participants, meaning like someone who is like taking one of your original set of shares, ends in the end of September. So it's very much rolling. And even though it's rolling, it's first come, first serve. So some farms, by the time May rolls around, they're sold out for the season. They have their list, they know what's up. Like you can't they maintain a waiting list, but there is like a larger demand in certain parts of the state than supply. Some places it's sort of like a slower drip of sign up, and people reach out to me in September and are like, I know I'm late, but is there something? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, this farm has been like really wanting a lot of more participants than they get. So it depends. And we can help with different publicity about your farm's participation as well. And you also are able to maintain your own season open and close dates. So we have some farms that close for the season, farm stands that close for the season on Indigenous Peoples Day, and they just communicate to their participants, you actually can't spend this past certain dates because we aren't open then. And yeah, here's my information. I will also put it in the chat, and I sent Chris in the follow-up. You'll be getting a PDF copy of the new farmer application in the follow-up email from Chris. So if you're interested in applying, just based on what you know now, submit one of those. Otherwise, you can absolutely schedule a time to meet with me to talk about whether the program would be a good fit for you. And that is what I got.
Great. Thank you, G. That was wonderful.
Went a little bit over, but
nope, that's fine. You're doing fine. Jamie, would you like to go next? Okay.
I'll try and go under to make up for that time. No, thanks everyone for being here. I think I'm the only one here that doesn't work for the agency that offers the program that I'm going to talk about. So that's a fun little twist, but I am involved in these programs on the administration side. or implementation side. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's food stamps, EBT. You'll probably know it by many names, but essentially you as a farm or food farm operator can accept SNAP. And so essentially what you were going to want to do to accept SNAP and thus work with SNAP families that are SNAP recipients is go online to the state of Maine's website, and you fill out an application to get an ID number to accept SNAP. That's the very short version. To be eligible to accept SNAP, there's a couple different schemes for you to become eligible. Some of them are, geared towards grocery stores, retail establishments, and then I think it's called Schematic B is designed for food producers such as yourselves, and food producers such as yourselves have to sell veggies, fruits, dairy, meat, bread, or grains. And it must be at least 50% of what you sell dollar-wise to qualify. So if you sell $100 of food, $51 of that has to be, fruits, veggies, dairy, meat, bread, or grains. So that's how you qualify. But again, you want to go onto the state website. It's the SNAP vendor part of the website, and I have that link for folks. So I think it's probably going to go out after this from Chris, but don't quote me there. But I have the website to get onto. You create a login. You're going to complete the application form. It's not particularly hard, and I have to fill this out every year for the farmers market that I help run. If you have questions, the SNAP that administers the SNAP staff is very helpful about answering them. They've always picked up the phone call when I've called them, so I don't have to wait for an answer by email. And then you await the decision, and you're going to get training material that talks about how to accept SNAP and goes farther into the regulations around accepting SNAP transactions for the products that you're selling. You're going to get what's called an ID number that identifies you. It's called an FNS number. And then you just have to have a POS, a point of sale system that can accept SNAP transactions. The most common ones are Total Pay or Market Link. And again, I can provide that information for follow-up. But you could also use, if you use Square, Square has a function where you can pay to take SNAP transactions. So there is more than one option, but Total Pay tends to be the least expensive of the options. And depending on how you implement SNAP, there are different buckets of funding that might cover the POS or the cost of the app for the first year that you use that POS system. So once you're registered to accept SNAP and have all the equipment, you can accept SNAP at your farm stand. You can accept SNAP as part of your CSA program, transactions to pay for it, and you can accept, if you're a farmer's market vendor, you can accept SNAP transactions at your farmer's market booth. Now, that's how to just accept SNAP at either your farmer's market booth or at your farm or through your CSA. But there is a program, a SNAP incentive program that is offered in the state of Maine. It's called Maine Harvest Bucks. And that program, there's two different versions of that program. There is a program that's run at farmers markets, and your market has to partake in that program as a whole. Or that's supported by the Maine Federation of Farmers Markets. Or there's a program that MOFGA administers that allows you to offer SNAP incentives at your farm stand or through your CSA, or even at your farmers market booth as an individual vendor versus for the whole market. If you're part of a market that already accepts SNAP and Maine Harvest Bucks, you are probably already accepting them. But the short version on how that works, you don't have to do anything special to take part in a SNAP or Maine Harvest Bucks program if you're part of a farmer's market that's already offering it. I don't know unless you're part of a market that lets you opt out. The markets I'm involved in, if you're part of the market, you have to accept SNAP or Maine Harvest Bucks, but all of you, again, would know better based on the guidelines of any markets you're in. But that program is a lot simpler. You accept when a SNAP customer is going to come to the market, they're going to check in at the SNAP booth or the info booth or with a specific vendor. They're going to run their SNAP card, at that booth, and they're going to get tokens or vouchers, most commonly, that represent their SNAP dollars to spend across the market as they would normally spend their SNAP dollars if they were, like, say, at a grocery store. They're also going to get a matching incentive, 50% of what they put on their SNAP card in the Maine Harvest Bucks. So, for example, if they have put $20 on their SNAP card, they're going to get another $10 to spend at the market. And that number is actually increasing soon to go to a 1-to-1 match. So if they put $20 on their card, they get $20 in vouchers as well. They come and spend that through the market. You take it as legal tender, and then you submit it to whoever is responsible at your market for the program. It might be a treasurer, it might be a market manager, it might be a SNAP volunteer. Every market's a little bit different. That's the most common way that SNAP and Maine Harvest Bucks are implemented at markets, like, writ large. There are a few other ways to do that, but most markets that are part of Maine Harvest Bucks and SNAP programs use a token system. Now, you can also, if you are a farmers market vendor and not part of a market that has a SNAP or Maine Harvest Bucks program, you've already completed all of the work to get your SNAP license, you can reach out to MOFGA and enroll in their SNAP incentive program that is, again, made for farm stands, CSAs, and for use at farmers markets. That program works a little bit differently. I'm going to check my notes on this. So I'm representing MOFGA today. I reached out to them to make sure I had all the information correctly. So pretend I have my MOFGA hat on, everyone. And if anybody is here from MOFGA in the crowd, be kind to me. So the MOFGA program runs a little bit differently. Let me go to my notes. So the way it works, if you are part of MOFGA's program, is if a customer comes up to you with a $20 purchase, you're going to charge them for $10 of that purchase, and you're going to have to track that sale information on a spreadsheet that MOFGA, whoever your point of contact is at MOFGA, shares with you. And what they end up doing is reimbursing you for that discount amount. So say, again, a $20 transaction, you charge the customer $10, MOFGA is going to reimburse you $10 on whatever the reimbursement cycle is for them. And I'm actually not sure on that detail. It might be monthly, it might be weekly, it might be individual to what you work out with them. I didn't check on that detail, I apologize. In order to qualify for that, whatever their, that is when they're shopping with you, like normally at your farm stand, say, or like they were just one-off items, there we go. But if they are partaking in part of your, like, if you have a CSA and they are a SNAP customer wanting to use your CSA, you have to charge them at least once a month, and 50% of what is part of the CSA has to be vegetables. And that is how it works if you're part of the MOFGA program. And I, again, have contact emails and links to enrollment sites for everybody. That is what I got.
Jamie, does that MOFGA program have a specific name?
It's the same Maine Harvest Bucks. They actually partner with the Maine Federation of Farmers Markets to offer that program. I apologize. It's the same SNAP incentive program, Maine Harvest Bucks.
Great. Thank you. And thanks for presenting. Okay. Anna, would you like to go next?
Definitely. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully. Wonderful. Well, I'm Anna, the vendor manager for the Maine Nutrition Program. So I want to welcome all the new Maine farmers. I'm here to just let you know a little bit about how you can serve your community and Maine families in the state of Maine. So WIC stands for Women's, Infants, and Children, and we're a supplemental nutrition program for children under the age of 5.
Anna,
yes?
We're not seeing your slides.
Thank you so much. Let me see if there's another close. How can you see it now or not yet?
we're seeing the presenter view.
Okay. How about now? And then, yeah.
Same thing. Oh, there we go. That looks good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, sorry about that. So let me move on to the next one. Okay. So I'm here to tell you about WIC. I briefly described a little bit for women's, infants, and children. Um, Anyone that has custody of a child under the age of 5 can apply to be in our program. As soon as you know you're expecting, you can go ahead and apply for WIC to see if you qualify for benefits. Our main mission is to provide healthy foods, nutrition education, breastfeeding education with support, and we also provide your referral to social services programs. We have 8 local agencies with 63 locations throughout our state. We serve almost 18,000 WIC participants. So we work with about 300 vendors, 200 are grocery stores, and a little bit over 100 are awesome Maine farmers, which we love. The other part of our program is the Farmers Market Nutrition Program, which we do this seasonally. And this is also a program funded by the USDA Food Nutrition Services. The focus on this is mostly to increase the use of fresh, unprocessed, locally grown fruits and vegetables by WIC participants. The other purpose is to expand awareness of fresh market, of the farmers markets by participants by support of local food. There's 2 different types of WIC benefits participants can redeem at their sales site. We have the first one, which is the WIC food and vegetable benefit, which is a fixed dollar amount. And this is year round. So each month a participant receives a fixed dollar amount to use for fruits and vegetables, either at a grocery store or with a WIC farmer. So for this item, it could be any fresh produce. So whether it's oranges, pineapples, bananas, that some farm stands get wholesale from out of state, plus the products that they sell as well at that they grow. The second benefit we offer, which is again only for the season, normally from July through October, and that's the Farmers Market Nutrition Program. And for that benefit, it can only be sold Maine grown produce, which includes herbs. For a typical WIC transaction, normally what happens is the customer comes with their mobile device, or if they don't have a mobile device, they probably have a printed out barcode. They would show that barcode to the farmer, and then the farmer would scan it with their app on their phone. Once the number has been recorded through the system, they would continue, and it would take them over to provide the details of how much the item cost and what type of product was sold, whether it was a general produce or whether it was a Maine grown produce. Once that's selected, they can continue, and it will have another window where you could offer to give the participant a receipt through email if they wish. But once you complete that, you could say,
Lydia, this is Jim Hannon.
I'm sorry. Oh. And then you can see that the purchase transaction is final. To be a WIC farmer, you do have to provide at least 50% of Maine grown fruits and vegetables. Also, 50% of it must be fresh and not processed. We also ask that you comply with our WIC EDP contractor. That's electronic benefit transfer. And you would have to register through their system, which is the app portion of our program, and provide your social security, bank information so that you could get paid. The other requirement, of course, you do have to have a smartphone, and it does have to be an Android or an Apple. And of course, with cellular service or Wi-Fi at your sales location. We do authorize farmers that attend farmers market, as well as those with roadside stands or mobile stands. We also authorize orchards. So if you have like a pick your own availability, that would also be allowed. You do have to have regular hours of operation and advertised schedule and meet Maine law requirements. Currently, the cities listed are the ones that we really need farmers at. We don't have any with authorized farmers in those locations. So if you are serving those areas or know anyone else that is in those areas, please refer to us. That would be greatly appreciated. Normally, our enrollment period is January through March. So this is right now open enrollment. And then for contact information, you can visit our website, which is maine.gov/web. And then there's a farmers tab on the left. And if you'd like to register for our training that goes through all the requirements and procedures, you can go ahead and scan that barcode on the right so that you can register for one of our trainings. That's all I have for now.
Great, thanks, Anna. You just want to stop sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And Lynn. Yes, that's perfect.
Good.
Thank you. And Lynn, you're up.
All right, let me start my share. All right, can you all see my slides there okay?
Yes, they look great. Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to be talking about the Maine Gleaning Network and Maine Harvest for Hunger, but it's all based on food insecurity, and it's a statewide program that we need to find local solutions for. Historically, it's been in Maine since Maine was settled. It's not just a matter of perception. It has been a reality for centuries. Currently, you can actually map that meal gap, map where the hunger is through the Feeding America site. The most recent statistics they have are from 2021, but I anticipate an update shortly. The map you're seeing here is for the entire state of Maine. And they define food insecurity at 3 different levels. So their percentages of the poverty level essentially, and those that are above the SNAP threshold are 185% of the poverty level. But as you can see, it's a big problem in Maine. Also, the average meal cost. Don't forget to think about that because that does make a difference. Our average meal cost is pretty high compared to the national average. So it exists throughout the state. We're #1 in New England for food insecurity, #7 in the nation, and 1 in 6 children in Maine go to bed hungry every night. More scary numbers, food insecurity rates about 18% for children. So that's the population of Brunswick and Auburn combined. Senior food insecurity is somewhat of a hidden problem, and 14% of Maine seniors experience food insecurity, which is probably 9 times the population of the town of Bath. There's plenty of reasons for this: limited impact of the programs that the government provides, lack of connectivity and collaboration between organizations that are working on hunger, and lack of education about food selection and preparation. It's not just food we're talking about, it's nutrition as well. What's not a problem is actually a lack of food or local grown program or generous farmers. We have incredibly generous farmers in the state of Maine, and I work with them every day in various areas to provide food to their local communities. So this is a good news slide. The Maine Harvest for Hunger, since its inception in 2000, the year 2000, up to the year 2022, has done 3.6 million pounds of food distribution. In 2022 alone, it was 296,000 pounds. Last year, the 2023 number was just a little over 300,000, which puts us up just shy of 4 million pounds. Those 296,000 pounds were done through the Maine Harvest for Hunger program, which is generally based on using Master Gardener volunteers and through our county offices to go out and harvest food and then deliver it to food distribution sites. The Maine Gleaning Network, we do work in collaboration with them as well, is also in many counties, and that's where another partner organization, such as a SNAP Ed partner, Healthy Androscoggin, for instance, or Healthy Capital Cities, will have a gleaning program using volunteers, sometimes Master Gardener volunteers, and they will go out and do food rescue in their area in various types and programs. We do actually, as Master Gardeners, do projects to engage more people in the effort to combat food security by encouraging them to help grow food as well. So our Master Gardeners work in community gardens, also school gardens, and other places to grow food. As you look at our county list, Aroostook County is the only place, or in Somerset County, are the only two places where there isn't either a Maine Gleaning Network member or Maine Harvest for Hunger group. Otherwise, there's usually one or the other, and in some of the more populated counties, we have both. I can be, and Chris has my information, I can be a resource to point you to the Hunger, Harvest for Hunger, Maine Gleaning Network person in your area. We know you guys are busy. We want to make it easy for you to engage. The way we do it is doing projects throughout the years. Sometimes we have our garden onion project going on now where we can grow garden onions, or we may ask to grow some on your farm if you have a space for them, and then we care and harvest them for you later in the season. We also do seed donations. A lot of times we can facilitate the donation of packets of seeds from vendors who give us bulk seeds. We use Master Gardeners to then take those seeds, break them into smaller packages, and then distribute them through the pantry system. Or sometimes we'll do seed collection in a few counties. We power it with people, not grants. We tap into local businesses who want to help, and then we leverage that money or that access to technology, and then we use Master Gardener volunteer power to do that. Oh yeah, money does help, and sometimes we do get money, in which case I know some gleaning organizations will actually purchase CSA shares, or they might buy bunches or seedlings for a project, or they might go and glean farmers markets. At the end of the market weekly, they will go around and collect any food that you're just going to go take back and throw in the compost. They'll take it instead and bring it to a local food area, a meal distribution site, or a storage area, so it can be distributed the next day or within a couple of days. And we work with a lot of community groups. We partner with a lot of groups. Here you see the Mary Meeting Food Council, which was the group that founded the Mary Meeting Gleaners, which are now part of Mid-Coast Hunger Prevention. And they gleaned somewhere in the neighborhood of 55,000 pounds of food last year. We ask people to think outside the box. And as Master Gardener volunteers, we participate in projects like Growing to Give, which is a food pantry farm in Brunswick. Twin Villages is another such farm that's up in the Mid-Coast area. As I mentioned, Mary Meeting Gleaners glean year-round at the farmers markets, and also work with a farmer to help them maintain their storage area. So as that farmer picks out product to go to the winter markets, realizes some of it's not going to make it till the next week, the gleaners come in and take that product and bring it to a pantry instead. They also use sharing tables, and we can be, gleaners can be great for one-time gleans. You finish the crop, you need to get that crop turned over, that soil turned over and replanted. They can come in and clean it out for you. After the pick your own strawberries, and we are known to be out in a lot of strawberry places, blueberry fields, apple orchards, after the pick your own season ends, and we glean the product from there. And that's kind of it. I'm available for questions, or Chris will have my information as well.
Great. Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you to all our speakers. I know that there's been some information sharing on the chat, but because this is recorded, I'd really like to go through these questions and answers out loud, if you don't mind. The first question was, do these programs cover harvested produce only, or does it also include seedlings for people who want to grow their own food? G, I know that you answered this on the chat. Would you like to answer it out loud?
Yeah, sure. Yes. So Maine Senior FarmShare does not allow seeds and seedlings to be purchased. I know that SNAP, Maine Harvest Bucks do. And don't believe that WIC does, but Anna, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, the certain applies to it. It has to be the fresh produce ready to eat.
Okay. Yeah. And then just on the, there was a food eligibility question a little bit lower about mushrooms, and cultivated and foraged mushrooms are both eligible, and they are being incorrectly classified as a vegetable in this case.
I just want to jump in. We do, in Maine Harvest for Hunger and the Maine Gleaning Network, we do often ask our farmers that we're going to be gleaning from in the summertime, at the end of their spring season, when they've got everything planted. If they have any extra seedlings, we would be glad to take them off their hands and take them to community gardens or the pantries. But generally speaking, community gardens and also school gardens get a lot of seedlings from our generous farmers.
G, you had put something in here about seniors participating in SNAP as well as FarmShare. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, just because there is already some and likely will be increasing overlap in farms that participate in more than one of these programs. For farms that, I mean, with the value of Maine Senior FarmShare being just $50, we all know that that doesn't go very far. So a way that we've been talking about, and we kind of like a couple of years ago, I had a number of meetings where Mofka and I ironed out kind of the tracking of how it would look. I don't know if anyone's actually taken advantage of it, but we can layer Maine Senior FarmShare and the Maine Harvest Bucks subsidized CSA programs to enroll older adults in Senior FarmShare to then have that $50 pay for a portion of a CSA, and then it's that amount, that half of which is covered by SNAP and half would be covered by Maine Harvest Bucks. So yeah, I just was excited about leveraging Maine Senior FarmShare to get an older adult the amount of food that is in a CSA. So reach out if you want to think about doing that.
That is really fantastic. We have so many people doing such good work here. The next question is, my farm stand uses Cashbox, Venmo, Cash App. So it sounds like Maine Harvest Bucks and Snap would not work. Am I missing something?
I can chime in. You do need a POS of some sort, whether it's a physical POS or it's an app on your phone, which you just download the application for. A SNAP transaction is called EBT because it's an electronic benefit transfer, an electronic transfer of funds that someone's allocated for it with SNAP to your bank account. So it's functionally a credit card transaction. So you do have to have a POS of some sort. Whether it's you make an account with Square or TotalLink or one of the other processors or an alternative one, you do have to do that. And G shared a link that the Maine Federation of Farmers Markets has that kind of talks about POS options, but you could also talk to MOFGA about that if you want to enroll in their Maine Harvest Bucks program or reach out to USDA about it, and I will provide those links.
And G, would you like to talk about the website, the Farm Food Access Program?
Yeah, so there was a pocket of funding a few years ago that was in the state budget. It has since run out, but the kind of findings and links are still on the website. So as of late 2022, there was no funding to subsidize equipment, but the website kind of links to some of the things that we have been talking about. And if you want to see more funding from that, call your legislator. And yeah, I think because we have, I mean, Lynn kind of spoke to this, like there are a lot of irons in the fire, in a way that I think is really good, but kind of if you're like, okay, who am I supposed to email? I mean, any of these folks are a good place to start. I think I always refer people to email Maine Federation of Farmers Markets because they are the holder of the grant that funds Maine Harvest Bucks at these other locations. So if they can take it on, they will, and if not, they'll know exactly who the next person is. So just in this sort of like wild goose chase of figuring out who to talk to for what, they are really good navigators of that. Even if they don't end up being who you're getting your support from. And just on this question about UPIC, yes, so Maine Senior FarmShare can be spent on UPIC, and that is really well loved by a lot of older adults, and by me as a program administrator. So more UPIC.
Great. And Polly has made a comment. We have a UPick apple orchard with raspberries, peaches, and pumpkins for picking as well, and accept WIC and EBT SNAP for all UPick, and they can purchase pre-picked or other food items in the store. Great detail. That is all the questions I have in the chat. Does anyone have any more questions? You can feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
I do have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead, Polly.
Okay, great. This might be for Anna, I think. For the accepting WIC, I know that we had some trouble last year with folks knowing that they needed to have the certain app to use it at farm markets. Do you know if there's any more information on that? Is it going to be the same system that you showed in your slides?
At this point, yes, it'll still be the same system. Participants will need to have their own mobile app to generate the barcode or print it at the local agencies. Local agencies are handing out flyers with all the WIC authorized locations for participants to use at farmers. And that for sure also includes the information of making sure they have the app generated to pull out. We continuously give those information. We send text messages to all our participants. But of course, there's some people that are just so used to going to the grocery store and swiping their card, they think that's the same with farmers, which is not the case. But we even have YouTube videos as well. But as of this point, it's still going to be the same. I haven't heard differently at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Great question, Polly. Thanks. I really appreciate all of our speakers today and everyone that came to participate. What great information about some powerful programs that are really important for our state. So thank you so much. I will be sending a follow-up email. I would appreciate if you would click on this survey link before you close everything out for the day. We are funded by grant funding, and it would be nice to get your feedback on some programming. So that'd be great. And as I said, we are going to put all of these great resources into an email and send it out to you. So if you have more questions, you can get a hold of these folks individually, and they can point you in the right direction. So thank you all for coming, and do get in contact with the Maine New Farmers Project.